This video is brought to you by TS4U IT Engineering Bootcamp.
I just had one question.
So the next question is, so how do you launch? I have some silly question. I'm sorry about that, but let's continue. How do you launch an EC2 instance in AWS, and what are the available instance types?
Of course, I don't think that's silly. It's actually pretty important. So what our team and I do in our environment is that we have the AWS console, as we know, and we have the AWS CLI. And for some projects, there's also GitOps enabled. So basically GitOps with the infrastructure as code. And on top of that, we have the Terraform codes, and we launch the EC2s from there. And sometimes our team and I launch the EC2 instances from the AWS CLI. And if we need some instances for just 1 or 2 times, then we do it straight from the console. So what we do is we go to the console and start with creating some key pairs. Then we configure the network setting as needed, which is within the virtual private cloud. So if there is any networking to be configured, our team just goes ahead and configures it. And if we have some user data to push as the user script, so that any of the instances launch some pre-configured data, we can actually push the user script through the user data option as well. That is a part of it. And then we choose any specific instant types, which can be either T2 micro, it can be T2 medium, or any of those options listed. Like there's R series, C series as well. But based on the requirements that we have for the task at hand, let's say I want to launch a database, so I choose the R series or the RAM optimized series that one can set. So for those specific requirements, I would actually choose the separate options for the EC2 types. And based on the requirements, we also choose how many cores and how many gigs of RAM we would want. So I can choose all of these, and then I can choose how many instances I would need to launch. So with that, I can just click on, after setting everything as needed, I can just click on create instance and see, and it will, of course, according to all of the listed requirements, it'll take a while to load and create. And after that, we can access the instance from the AWS console or from our terminal. Let's say if I'm using Windows and I can actually use the applications such as Mobex, Sturm, SSH, and such, in order to access that created instance. But in the environments my team and I work in, we use Linux and Macs. So we just SSH into the EC2 instances directly from the terminal.
All right, sounds good. I have a quick follow-up question. You mentioned that your team create the network. Are you referring to like the VPC?
Yes, the VPC.
So
that's where we sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
No, that's the part of the EC2 instance where we configure the networking settings. And if there's any networking that needs to be configured, we just take care of that when we're basically setting and designing the VPC for that instance.
So I want to clarify, do you guys have a dedicated team for the VPC, like the networking for all? Or you just create the network yourself?
We just create the networks ourselves because we are equipped with that, how to navigate and work with VPCs.
Understood. Thank you.